what's called we're all high performers, own several businesses, and I wouldn't be able to run at this level, especially if I didn't have everything intact. And what I mean by that, it's not just enough to move. A lot of people started working out, they want to do a better health thing. I'm like, or some might eat really well, and they might not know the other aspects of it. So with that whole journey of like 20 years now, I've been on this, thank you for that awesome introduction earlier. But yeah, 140 books now, and it's not to brag. It's just about knowledge, right? I believe all of us in this room, like they guys all have the notepads. I'm like that too, old school, write things down. But it's the books, we have to learn from others. So I've been gifted on his journey. I was supposed to be a computer engineer and a police officer, and I turned into a personal trainer when I lost the weight. And along the way there, it's like, and then I became very, very addicted to learning more about the body and the biology. You know what I mean? Eating according to blood types. Learning about what your body's made up of. What does it really need? And once you figure that part of it, and there's really good the one you're talking about, Cardone's, I think it's Brecca, right? Brecca's amazing, great biohacker. He's a whole nother kind of level. You know what I mean? And we all need someone like that in our lives, right? We got to kind of simulate. We got to have health and nutrition. We got to have coaches and mentors in our lives. And I believe when we get all those put together, then we can perform at a high level. So what we'll talk about today is kind of three major things that I want to talk about. You know what I mean? One is going to be sleep. That's a big one. Sleep for a lot of people, it's so unutilized, and a lot of people don't realize how to actually optimize your sleep schedule. And we'll talk about that too. We're gonna talk about your microbiome. Your microbiome is where the magic happens. You know what I mean? Once you figure out how everything works as a system, we're a massive organism, and we have trillions of organisms keeping us alive. And once you figure that part of it out, I'm telling you guys, like it's next level. Number three, some supplementation. You know what I mean? Because in this day and age, we got supplements now that we can utilize. All right, we don't have to use everything. They're called supplements. I always tell people, I'm like, even though I own a supplement store, it's one of those things when people come in here, I'm like, supplements are great, but you can take all these supplements in this room, and I have two other rooms there, and you can take everything, but if you still don't have everything else intact, everything will be incorrect. Now, whatever we do in life, if we have everything under control, what happens is everything else becomes easier, memory is better. When you came in the store, when you guys came in, we were literally it was basically you're fatigued, you're a little bit tired. And I'm like, I started breaking it down, asking questions, and we broke everything down. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, it's great. You guys are doing really, really good stuff, but let's actually talk a little further and let's optimize you. And the biggest thing I think we needed to correct on you guys was sleep first, right? So let's talk about sleep first. Sleep is so important. A lot of people are, especially you guys, right? Everybody's on electronics. We're messing up the whole circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm is what our bodies line up to. It's the clock. You know what I mean? And sleep is something that we can utilize because your body releases growth hormone when you get your delta, when you hit that deep sleep. And that's when your body fully recovers. Delta sleep waves. The first part of your sleep cycle is where your body actually takes all your memory and your thoughts and it lines everything up. And what we're going to talk about, how do we get into that perfect sleep cycle? So everybody's on different time zones here, but we all follow the clock. It's the sun, circadian rhythm. So moving forward, uh, with your sleep, doesn't matter where we come from, but if we're on electronics before we go to sleep, we're actually biohacking our brain and telling it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon if you're in front of blue light. So blue light during the day is fantastic. Great. It keeps us awake from the sun. It's blue light, fake lights, blue lights. This whole room right now is lit up. If I sat in this room all night, I would stay right wide awake. You know what I mean? And it's like, if I'm on my laptop, on my cell phone, on my computer, you know what I mean? I could stay up to 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and it's basically like, my brain won't even shut off. And then if I do close my eyes and I fall asleep, my circadian rhythm won't even begin for another 2, 3 hours before I just miss the whole wave of sleep. And you want to hit that delta sleep, right? So the biggest things that I want to talk about is how to prime yourself to go to bed. So the biggest things, let's talk about food first. For food, I would highly recommend not eating before going to bed. You know what I mean? Your body is shutting down. Your body's shutting down. It does not want to be digesting food. Biggest mistake people do is they don't eat enough throughout the day. I used to be that guy. I used to fast all day long, and then I used to try to compact my meals at the end of the day. We got to realize that when your brain starts to produce melatonin, it's your hormone. When it's the time to go to sleep, meaning when it gets dark, your body naturally starts producing melatonin and starts to suppress your testosterone. So when your body releases melatonin, which is your hormone to prime you to go to bed, your body doesn't want to be producing acid. You're just signaled your brain and your body, you're pretty much speaking to it through your environment, saying it's time to go to bed. And a lot of people start eating late night, especially all of us. If we're using our amygdala, our brain, if you're studying, if you're learning, your body's going to draw so much energy. And if it draws a lot of energy, you're going to be naturally going to be very hungry. So you're going to pick some food up right away off the bat. So it's a double-edged sword. You're not going to get a good night's sleep. You're going to be thermogenic. You got to remember that your body has to drop the degrees by 2. You have to drop your body temperature down by 2 degrees to hit deep sleep. Now, if you just ate some food before you went to bed, you just raised your thermogenics up. Your body temperature goes up, especially if you anything like red meat, hard to digest, high proteins. One of the worst things you could do late night. You want to introduce that red meat earlier in the day. It's hard to digest, and it brings your body temperature up. So I would bring that a little bit way earlier in the day. At the end of the day, the saying goes, eat like a king, eat like a queen, eat like a pauper. Something very like a poor person, right? So soup, something easy to digest. So I would say 4 hours before going to bed not to eat. You know what I mean? That would be optimal. But even if you can pull that to like 5 hours, you're gonna get those deep sleeps. A couple hacks that you could do. Me and my fiance, what we do is we set up red lights in the whole condo. You can get them on Amazon, red light bulbs. You're gonna trick your brain. It's a ray of light your body picks up, right? It's like sunset, right? So you want to kind of have the ambiance of red lights, orange lights before you go to bed. So if you can actually set up your whole environment where you can set up red lights around that sleeping time, 1 hour, 2 hours before, that'll be phenomenal. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to trigger your circadian rhythm. Just like if you had white lights on, you're telling your body it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If you had red lights, orange lights, anything amber, and what will happen is legit, your body's like, the first time I did it and I turned everything on red, I started yawning within 15 minutes. It's beautiful. So your body now is like, okay, it's time to go to sleep. Your body starts to suppress your testosterone. It starts to secrete melatonin. And now it'll take another hour or two before you get ready to go to bed. Hot shower before you go to bed, fantastic idea. When you take a hot shower, your internal temperature actually will drop. Just like if you take a cold shower in the morning, your body revs up your energy, right? So a cold shower in the morning, speeds up your metabolism. Your body thermogenesis has to go up because your body regulates its temperature. So when you wake up in the morning, take a cold shower. At nighttime, hot shower, hot bath, fantastic. And then set up those lights. 2, electronics. EMFs are horrible. Electronic magnetic frequencies. Our cell phone, if it's plugged into the socket, it gives off a radius up to, I think it's up to 5 feet of energy all around it. It's horrible for sleep. It will disrupt your sleep. So biggest mistakes we all do. We're on cell phones right before we go to bed. We have phones charging right beside our heads. We're on our cell phones technology right before we go to bed. And basically we're telling our body not to go to sleep, right? So now all of a sudden you close your eyes. You went to bed at 11 o'clock, but your body won't even trigger that circadian rhythm for another 1 hour, 2 hours. Your sleep will be horrible, right? And you got to remember the best time of your sleep, your first cycle of sleep, usually go through about 3 to 4 cycles a night. And in each cycle of sleep, there's about 5 stages. And in the first, between 9 o'clock and 1 o'clock in the morning. So obviously, I'm the one's going to go to bed 9 o'clock, but even 10 o'clock is amazing. 11 would be my cutoff time. And it doesn't matter where we are in the world. It's 11 o'clock p.m. somewhere, right? And depending on the season, you know what I mean? Obviously, it might get a little darker in the summertime, and it's harder to trigger that. But you should already be getting into the habit of getting off the electronics and all that kind of stuff, right? And you can actually, set your house up already in the sense that everything's being charged outside of your room, right? So you're setting up that light system in that sense. So basically, you're gonna go to bed, you're gonna get the best sleep, and then the first sleep cycle, it's where your brain takes all your information that you've learned all day long. And you guys are all high performers, you're studying, you're learning stuff all day. So the first part of the sleep cycle, you will never remember your dreams. Do you guys all realize when we all wake up, and our dreams, you're remembering your dreams, it's at the end of your sleep. So at the first part of your sleep cycle, your brain is taking everything that you learned and it lines up all your thoughts, everything that you've learned. And the first part is the hardest part to achieve because it's when you should not be eating and all that stuff. So a lot of people study before they go to bed. They try to learn as much as they can before going to bed. You know what I mean? And that was one of the big things that we spoke about. I'm like, you're trying to cram in all your work at the end of the night. And I used to be like that too. And I'm like, wait a minute. This doesn't make any sense. My body's trying to go to sleep. I'm trying to go to get a rest. I'm about to go recover, but I'm trying to cram information down. Just like my body doesn't want to digest, because as soon as there's melatonin present, your stomach acid is going to be very weak. And that's just biology. None of us have a choice how this works, right? So as soon as your body releases melatonin, your body's digestion starts to shut down. And it makes a lot of sense, right? You physically get to go to bed, but why are you making your body work? And when you go to hit your sleep, you might digest overnight 15 to 20%. That's it. You know what I mean? You still digest a little bit overnight, but the number two mistake that happens is no one really talks about the blood. And the blood has to be released back to your liver and your spleen. Your spleen and your liver will clean your blood in your deep sleep. But how do we clean that blood if we ate food? You know, so if you eat food before you go to bed, you're gonna trap the blood in the tummy because 60% of your blood will go to your digestion. So now all of a sudden, you're long term, this is not like an overnight kind of thing. Long term, what you're doing is you're down regulating everything. You're keeping on all the toxins in your body. You're pretty much going to keep everything in, and the long-term effects will be brain fog, fatigue, hormone problems. Could be anything else from indigestion, microbiome, all that kind of stuff will be off, right? And you got to remember, it's one of the most important things, right? So what we want to do is eliminate that food, get the good night's sleep, digest our food properly early in the day, get a deep sleep, and let the sleep cycles happen. Quick story to share with my fiance. You know, before I met her, eats very healthy. She tracks her sleep on a Fitbit. She was getting 37 minutes of deep sleep a night. And I just kind of broke it down, just like we're talking right now. I broke everything down for her. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You know, you're eating vegan. You're very healthy. That's cool when we first met. But I'm like, you're only getting 37 minutes of deep sleep. I'm like, you know, that's rough, right? So we did all these things that I'm just talking about right with you guys. She tracks her sleep. Now we got up to 2 hours. So now in one night she gets as much as 3 to 4 nights worth of sleep, of actual recovery sleep. So she wakes up stronger, repairs her body. Because remember, if you get that deep sleep, your body releases growth hormone. And you cannot release growth hormone if you can't achieve those delta sleep waves. So you could sleep for 8 hours a night, but you might only achieve a little scratch of that deep sleep, that recovery sleep. And now you're waking up in the morning, you're not remembering what you learned last night, and it makes no sense, and you're not fully recovered. And if you do work out, then what's going to happen is your body won't achieve protein synthesis. Your body has to release growth hormone, but for that to happen, all those things have to be corrected. And I know it sounds very difficult these days because our ancestors had it a lot easier. You know, we didn't have they didn't have the electronics to keep us awake. It was candles, it was orange lights, it wasn't bright white lights everywhere, right? So now we got to be very, very careful to biohack our environment to optimize that. And the number two thing is you're not going to learn anything right before you go to bed. You might retain 25%. Because if you're on a cell phone and you didn't hit that deep sleep, that first cycle you just missed, everything that you tried to learn, you might retain maybe 25% max. So what I tell a lot of high performers and athletes and anybody that I work with, investors, doesn't matter. Um, Try not to learn anything before you go to bed. Focus on getting those deep sleeps. Wake up in the morning and do the exact same work first thing in the morning. Make a schedule. I promise you're gonna outperform yourself 3x. And that is one of the biggest rules that I live by. You know, from all the science and all the literature that I've read. It's like everybody's trying to cram in everything, and I invest too. I do invest in cryptos and stuff like that. And I read a lot of literature, and I try to I learn a lot of information. I don't do it anymore at nighttime. I now focus on setting up that whole thing. So an overcap of sleep. Do not eat before going to bed. Get the electronics out of the room. Try to set up orange lights, red lights. Do not be around bright lights. Get off the laptops, get off the cell phones. Do your meal prep for the next day, whatever. Take a hot shower, you know what I mean? And maybe listen to a podcast at best. You know what I mean? Try to I don't know what, everybody's got different religions, but meditation, prayer, you know what I mean? Something that will unwind your mind, and gratitude exercises. Be thankful for everything. And what will happen is, I've seen it over and over again, doesn't matter who it is. I coach a lot of people. And what happens is, after time, you see one after another. A girl came in just literally 30 minutes ago. I'm at the shop right now. And she goes, everything we just talked about, she applied. She just lost 3 to 5 pounds. Didn't change her diet, didn't change anything. Inflammation is down in her waist. Her energy is through the roof. And that's just by correcting sleep. So that is number one. Learn in the mornings. Do not learn at nighttime. Once in a while, if you break the rules, it's okay. Do not eat before going to bed. And I already repeated all that. So we're going to leave that at that. So sleep is very, very, very important. So that's number one thing that I always do with everybody. Number two is your microbiome. Your microbiome is one of the most important things in your body, you know, and it's one of those things that a lot of people neglect. And how do we optimize our microbiome? You know, our microbiome are trillions. We have about 130 trillion microorganisms living in us, on us, keeping us alive. Fun fact, we got our microbiome from our mothers when we came out of the vaginal canal. You know, that's the first scraped out of microbes that we got. And now it's our job to keep them alive. And what do they eat? You know, I used to think of food, you know, calories in, calories out, eat whatever, but it's not like that. You know, these microbes are very, very specific. They don't eat junk food. If you want to eat crappy food, you'll keep the wrong. I call them the bad guys and the good guys. The bad guys are going to give you headaches, uh, brain fog, indigestion, hormone problems. They're going to make you feel ill. They're going to make you feel sick. They're not going to make you feel right. And then the other guys, the good guys, they're keeping you alive, right? You got to remember your body is made up of 102 minerals. And it's our job to put those minerals back into the body. But number two, it's like, how do we find good food? That's a whole other conversation. You know, our food is that's the whole story when I came to Canada. I'm not blaming Canada. I love Canada. But, you know, I got obese when I came to Canada. The food is a lot different here than it is in Europe and in different parts of the world, right? So we have to be very specific of what we eat. We have to be even careful what that animal ate or what that food was sprayed with, right? And that is going to lead into our microbiome, because if you're eating malnutrition food and you're just stuffing food down the hatch just to fill in the gut and make, you know, get the calories in and you feel okay in the moment, what value did the food bring you? You know what I mean? You got to remember, so like you're a living organism, and if you're eating, well, I say, you know, my girl's vegan. I say, nothing wrong being vegan. Stay vegan. She's a blood type A. You know what I mean? And blood type another blood type thing. If you're a blood type O, you can be a carnivore. You have good stomach acids. If you're a blood type AAB, I would say go vegan. Your body's optimized to be vegan just because you have weak stomach acids. If you're blood type B, you do better on like meats as well, but like white meats, red meat a little bit. And that's a whole nother conversation about blood type diets. You know what I mean? But it's like, go back to also what our ancestors say. Where do you come from? What country you come from? What did our ancestors grow up on? You know, some people can do a lot of fruits and vegetables. Other people come from the north, right? They never had that seasonal all year round. You know, so they would be better off eating a little bit more of the, you know, more a carnivore diet. So that's a way to optimize, but to keep those microbes alive, and that's just a form of eating. But now let's look at strategy. How are we going to keep these microbes alive? Because these microbes that live in your intestinal tract, they need to be fed. So let's talk about digestion. And digestion is going to be huge. This is how you're going to retain every single mineral and vitamin inside of your body, because you are actually not eating your food. It's your microbes. So your job is to source the food, find the food, and let's begin on digestion. First part of digestion, we all know, we starts in the mouth. Your teeth are there to mechanically break down the food. The teeth break down the food, very simple, but here it's not simple. A lot of people just eat very fast. They don't even take time to digest. And basically they shove it in. We're working. You guys might be, you know, not even paying attention to eating because you're trying to, you know, watch the charts, do everything. You might be multitasking, talking to three people, trying to eat, not even paying attention to chewing. You got to remember, your first part is right here. Saliva. Saliva is responsible for breaking down fiber in your diet. And that fiber in your saliva, remember, fiber does not get absorbed into the body. The fiber is there to feed the microbes. And the fiber is your stool. And your fiber is what brushes the intestinal tract and pushes all that toxic waste that your body leaves in your intestinal tract. And you need to get rid of that waste. You don't want that stuff be circulating back into your body. And the fiber, our ancestors ate over 100 grams of fiber a day. We're scraping. I think the recommended amount these days, our government's saying you can eat 30 grams and you're good to go. I would say a lot more than that. You know what I mean? And if people are like, oh, but fiber bloats me, vegetables bloat me, I'm like, that's cool. It will at first, because you probably don't have the microbes there to ferment the food for you, right? So first part, you got to digest that food. Saliva breaks down the all the fiber that you're eating. So everything from your cruciferous vegetables, which I highly recommend. You know, that's where I would stick to the cruciferous. The greener, the better. A little hack for everybody: the more bitter it is to the mouth, the better it is to the gut. That's number one rule. So arugula, parsley, you can do spinaches, even Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, artichokes, asparagus. load up as much as you need to. If you're very lean and you're okay and you don't have insulin resistance, meaning you can handle the sugar and the carbohydrates, include some fruit. I would maybe focus more on the raspberries. Raspberries, any kind of berry. Berries are low glycemic, low sugar, but high fiber. And that is a whole nother kind of level, you know what I mean? Because now you're enjoying them, getting some antioxidants. But remember, vegetables have way more minerals and way more vitamins. Chlorophyll is your best friend. Chlorophyll is the plant misspoke. Chlorophyll is the blood of the plants. Under a microscope, if you extract the chlorophyll from a plant, it looks identical to human blood. Except we have iron in our blood in the middle of our cell. They have magnesium, and magnesium is phenomenal. Over 300 functions in our bodies, and we're depleted because our soil is depleted. The farming today is off. They don't farm the right way anymore, and we're not getting enough magnesium. So a lot of people, if you can't eat the greens, I always tell people make a smoothie. There's nothing wrong with taking a scoop of protein powder, some olive oil or MCT oil. MCT oil is from coconuts. Great energy. They'll give you, it doesn't go through your liver. It goes surpasses the liver. It's 8 calories and it goes right into the bloodstream. Massive energy. And it's octane, it's energy for the brain. Healthy fats. Remember, your brain is 60% fat and it runs on this stuff. It's fuel, it's gasoline for your brain. So you can put a little bit of MCT oil, scoop of protein powder or olive oil, but good rich olive oil because it's got polyphenols. And then you take a handful of arugula, a handful of parsley, handful of raspberries, throw in a little bit. And I buy everything frozen, organic, or if I buy fresh, I clean it, and I put it in a Ziploc bag and I freeze it. You know what I mean? And then I just take handfuls of everything and I make myself a smoothie. Your body now becomes alkaline. If you stay alkaline, your body outperforms itself because we're very acidic. Everybody doesn't realize that drinking caffeine is acidic. Eating animal products is acidic. Working out produces acid in the body. So how do we offset the acid production in the body? We need to become more alkaline. And here's the secret. If you do not eat the fiber and the vegetables and the greens that nobody wants to eat, your body has to neutralize the acid production in the body. You're going to thin your bones, but you're not going to have the thinning of the bones over a day or two, over a year. It will be over a decade because your most alkaline unit in your body is calcium. But calcification, we have calcium all over our body, but not in our bones because a lot of people don't eat enough vegetables and K2, the vitamin K2. The vitamin K2 is very important. Vitamin K2, you can buy a supplement, but I always tell people food first. Anything fermented has K2 in it. So sauerkraut, kimchi, natto. It's a stinky little Japanese bean, but it's phenomenal. If you can handle it, it's got the most K2 you're ever going to find. And K2 decalcifies you. So if your body has enough K2, it will go in and decalcify you, and it will break down the calcium in your arteries, which is atherosclerosis. Cataracts in the eyes, that's calcium buildup. Kidney stones, that's calcium buildup, right? So now your body's breaking down this calcium, which is neutralizing the acid in the body, and it's giving you energy. This is how you get energy in the body. And now you're not tired, you're not fatigued. Now you're alkaline, right? A lot of people are too acidic. And if you're too acidic, again, symptoms, low energy, brain fog, I don't feel good, I have no motivation, my hormones are off. You don't have to have all these symptoms. You can have one or two. So alkalinity is very, very important. And that comes from your best friend, leafy greens. And that's why if you eat a carnivore diet, you gotta make sure that you gotta eat it like our ancestors ate it. Everything was grass-fed back in the day. So if anybody's carnivore, I always tell them, I'm like, that's cool. I'm like, but do you realize that carnivore, that animal, it better be grass-fed because then it's eating the green plants for you. Because that flesh that you're about to consume, that flesh now is full of magnesium, all those minerals, right? If that fish was farmed, that's horrible. I don't even eat it. It makes no sense. I want a fish that has been wild caught. Even though everybody, oh, but fish has a lot of mercury these days. Everything's poison these days, you know? So what do we want to eat? We want to eat smaller fish, sardines, mackerel, sockeye salmon. A little bit more pricey, but you're giving your body omega-3s, EPA, DHA for your brain. Remember, your brain is 60% fat. And if you're not eating fish, then get yourself a supplement, omega-3s. Very rich supplemental. Get high EPA and then DHA, right? And you should be consuming about 4 grams of fish oils a day, right? And that is brain food, right? Your brain needs that food, right? Your brain needs potassium and sodium for electricity. That's your electrical pump. That's potassium sodium pump. And it needs omega-3s. That's the food for the brain, right? So if you're going to go carnivore, it better be grass-fed. If you're going to eat fish, it better be wild caught. And if you don't consume enough of those, you better be consuming enough plants as well on top of that, right? Chia seeds, flax seeds, that's high omega-3s and good fiber. And the chia seeds and the flax seeds are omega-3s, right? Again, omega-3s to offset the omega-6s in the body. Our ancestors, once again, not only did they eat high fiber, they also ate, I believe the ratios was 16-1 of omega-3s to omega-6. Omega-3s are your best friend. Omega-6s are very inflammatory. Where do you find omega-6s? In oil or vegetable oils. No more margarine. That's poison to the body and your joints. No more canola oil, horrible for you. No more soybean oil, grapeseed oil, none of those vegetable oils. Basically, the rule is if you take a seed and you press against a piece of paper and you can't get oil out of it, that is the worst thing ever. I see the soy-free, the soy grass-fed meats. Soy is good too. Soy, a lot of people, I did a lot of research on it. Soy, if it's fermented, you're good to go. It's actually very, very beneficial. It actually removes cancer from the body. It's the North American soy that we got. It's the genetically modified crap that's bad for us. You know what I mean? They did a study on Japanese women. They sent 100 to North America and they kept 100 back home. And a lot of them developed breast cancer that didn't eat the fermented soy, that ate the North American soy. And all of a sudden it's this thing. It's we're eating too many genetically modified foods, right? So miso, or however you pronounce it, fantastic for you. So you can consume that if you want to keep that. So K2, not only does K2 decalcify the body, boom to go. Now you got energy, now you're flying. But number two, the vegetables. Let's go back to the vegetables, the microbes. I know I'm all over the place, but everything tells a beautiful story. The microbes need to be fed now. So you chewed your food up here, and you let that fiber drop into your tummy, boom. As soon as you start chewing here, biomechanics kicks in. Your body's being taught that it's being fed. As soon as you start chewing, you're a little sphincter. You have a sphincter up top here. It opens up. Do you guys always realize when you eat food, how does your body know not to choke on the food? And there's a little sphincter that stays closed. I'm not gonna make a reference, but I'll make it actually. It looks like it's like the same thing like a little butt. It's like a little butthole, and it's a little sphincter, and it opens up when you start chewing. So it makes a lot of sense, right? You start chewing. How does your body know to let the food go into the stomach? And then I used to always think, I'm like, how does your body know? Now, when we eat food, now we have stomach acid, right? You have acid being produced in the stomach because your body's beautiful. This is not even your choice. Your body has to create this on its own. God made us really good. So now you have your stomach capsule in the middle, right? You have your stomach in the middle. You have a little sphincter up top and you have a sphincter at the bottom. I used to always think, I'm like, how does your body know not to release the acid into your intestinal tract, right? And it makes a lot of sense. That's a little sphincter. You have a sphincter at the bottom and a sphincter at the top. So you start chewing, this opens up and it lets the food drop in your stomach cavity. That food now has to stay in your stomach for up to 4 hours. Digestion takes about 4 to 5 hours. And it's literally one of those things where a lot of people they start drinking and eating at the same time, and it's the worst thing we could do. You know what I mean? Little biohacking tip for everybody here. 30 minutes before your meal, you're allowed to drink as much as you want to. Load up on the liquids. 30 minutes before. The stomach cavity will empty very quickly. And then you're about to eat, right? Sphincter opens up, food drops into your stomach cavity, and now you have food being bathed in acid. That's why we can't drink and eat at the same time. You don't want to wash that acid down. I used to always think when I was obese, I grew up obese, and I used to think like, the food is going to be softer if I drink any kind of liquid. On the contrary, you just removed all your stomach acid out, and think about it. If we had a bowl of acid in front of us right now and asked anybody on this chat, I'm like, how are we going to dilute this acid? I would say, let's pour some kind of liquid over it and now dilute the acid. So how is that food now going to digest in your stomach? And that leads to a whole nother set of problems. You know what I mean? How are we going to actually even digest and absorb the food if we can't even break it down? And you got to remember these little microbes that are waiting for this food to go through your intestinal tract to feed you, because you're not the one that's absorbing the minerals and the vitamins. The microbes that are living in your intestinal tract, they're fermenting the food as the food passes by. So your job is to mechanically break the food down here. Then in your stomach capsule, which is your stomach cavity there, where your acid is being produced. And then after about 4 hours, that little sphincter at the bottom opens up, and now it lets you drop the food into your intestinal tract after it's been pretty much diluted into a liquid. Now this food drops down through your intestinal tract, and you're now going to be fermenting it if the microbes are there. And that's why we got to eat the fermented foods. We get the fermented foods, That is, not only are we going to get the K2, but fermented foods are also going to give you a good set of microbes. That's why kefir is good if you can handle it. If you can find good healthy kefir, sauerkraut, the kimchi's, coconut yogurt. I do a lot of coconut yogurt because it's very healthy, non-GMO if you can find it, obviously. Anything fermented, it would be fantastic. If you want to kickstart a thing, you could always buy a supplement, a probiotic, and not to stay on the probiotic forever. You're only using it for one round. I always tell people you should only do it for a month or two max, right? But everybody doesn't talk like this, right? They want to take a supplement for the rest of their life because they're not willing to have a even to sit in this room and listen to me speak, or even someone in their life to be able to speak like this and absorb this information. I'm like, yo, wait a minute, that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to implant these microbes, and I tell this to all my customers, and they come in here. If you went to a supplement shop, they're like, yeah, stay on the probiotics. You need them for the rest of your life. No, you don't. 1 month, put them in there, and then keep them alive. How do you keep them alive? You got to feed them the fiber. That's how they multiply. That's the fiber, the fiber, the fiber. The fiber is the food for the microbes. The fiber is what's going to allow to feed them. Here's the crazy part. If those microbes do not get fed, they're still going to eat. They're going to eat your stomach lining. They'll eat your whole intestinal tract wall. And that's your mucus lining. Your mucus lining is what lines your whole stomach. Your stomach lining inside your stomach is 99.9% water, and it's all mucus, and so is your whole intestinal tract. And if these microbes do not get fed because you don't want to eat any kind of fiber in your diet, that's why fiber is important, not only to push all this shit through your intestinal tract, but they're there to feed your little army that's living inside of you, that's trying to keep you alive. Because you ate here properly, you chewed your food, your stomach acid, because you didn't wash it away, digested the food, now your microbes get to eat. And they're the ones that are actually breaking the food down further for you, down to a microscopic size. And now you get to absorb the mineral and the vitamin through that mucus lining. And now it goes into your bloodstream. Now you absorb the minerals and vitamins. Now your hormones are corrected. Now you got energy. Now you got no hair loss. Now you got, no hormonal problems. Now you don't have mood swings. Now you have a good microbiome. Now you're sharp. Now you have no brain fog. Now you can be 40 years old and still play sports. You can be 50 and still play sports. You just slowed aging down because you have little stem cells all over your body, and they have telomeres on top. They're little telomere caps. And those caps, clear skin, I see that. Yes, clear skin, huge. Clear skin, 1000%. Because if everything's working, all your hormones are being produced properly. And these telomeres, when they're well nutritioned and you have good sleep, because now you've corrected your sleep, and then you got all your telomeres is what keeps you from aging. So if they stay on top of your stem cells and they don't fall off, and then your stem cells don't unwind, you don't age. I'm 40 years old and I feel like I'm a 20-year-old. You know what I mean? But that could be for everybody. I wasn't like this. I didn't feel like this when I was in my 20s. You know what I mean? It was actually the opposite until I learned a lot of this biohacking stuff. I started doing a lot of research just to lose weight. And along my journey, I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. I'm like, wow, there's a lot more to this. It's not just working out. And it's almost now it's like a maze through life. Where back in the day, our parents and our grandparents, they just got to eat real food. They just didn't have the fun gadgets like we do nowadays. So now it's like we got all the cool stuff going on, but now it's like we almost have to be very, very particular. How do we move through life and how do we optimize ourselves? Because that's the biggest thing I always teach is about how do I optimize myself? And it doesn't matter, again, what you do in life. It just becomes better, whatever you do, right? So these microbes now are fed. You got all your minerals, you got your more vitamins, and boom, voila, everything's beautiful. But now what if they don't get fed? So now imagine you don't feed, now you eat fast food, Uber Eats or whatever, DoorDash or whatever everybody's got in their country. You're clicking things, food's arriving, malnutritioned. I used to work in the restaurant business for 10 years. It's all shitty oils. You're getting the worst oils. No one's giving you olive oil. No one's giving you grass-fed butter. No one's giving you grass-fed steaks, and no one's even giving you wild-caught fish or anything like that. You're eating at the lowest. It's just convenience, but you're eating at the lowest grade of food. And remember, you are the food that you eat, right? So if these microbes do not get fed, what a disaster. They start eating, they start eating your mucus lining. And what is this disease? Everybody probably might leaky gut. And leaky gut is a big problem for a lot of people. And that's inflammation in the body, because now all of a sudden these little bugs, these microbes, they're like, whoa, you're not feeding me. We're hungry. So they start eating at your mucus lining. And as soon as they start breaking through your wall, they break through, and it's microscopic, by the way. All of a sudden, a little break here, a little break there, a little break here, and now your immune system goes, whoa, shoot! All the toxic waste that's supposed to be held in your intestinal tract, so it can go out the other, out the back. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Taking a nice poop. So if it can't exit that way and it's not leaking into your bloodstream, your white blood cells literally have to go like, wow, you know, let's turn up the immune system. And it goes to war. It starts to be like, whoa, this shouldn't be in the bloodstream. This shouldn't be over there. This shouldn't be over there. And now you're weak. Now you're tired. These are all the symptoms once again, right? And then all of a sudden, what happens is you start to age faster, and then all of a sudden you look back, you're 30 years old and you're 40 years old, and you're like, wow, I'm aging really fast. Why is that guy or that girl that I grew up, because we all have a good friend in our group of friends, or someone, all my friends that are, I'm 40 now, so all my friends are 39, 40, 42, all the stars that were the hockey players, the tennis stars, anybody that looked like they were shredded or whatever. It's not like that anymore. You know what I mean? They're aging very quickly. You know what I mean? And that's where and that's what's up? And that's where things kind of fall, that's where kind of things fall off for a lot of people, right? Because now you're malnutrition. You know what I mean? So protect your microbes, feed your body the right diet, chew your food, don't drink and eat at the same time. After you eat, they say 30 minutes, I say 1 hour. Let that food bathe in acid, then bring the liquids in. You should eat every 5 hours. It takes up to 4 hours to digest the food properly in your intestinal tract. Eat real food. That way you can rebuild your body at the highest level. And then give your body about an hour to replenish new stomach acid so you can crush the next meal. Eat your two biggest meals of the day first. Boom. And then that way your stomach acid is the strongest. You can actually break down your food. Eat your smallest meal at the end of the day, something very light, like a soup. If you're gonna eat any kind of meat, it better be 4 or 5 hours before going to bed, and it better be like a white meat. Uh, do not eat heavy red meats. Eat good combos earlier in the day. Focus on putting meals properly by eating fibrous foods. Eat your protein and some healthy fats. It will slow digestion down, so your stomach cavity capsule will empty very slowly, and that way you won't be snacking. If you do want to enjoy a snack, eat the snack with your main meal. You can still enjoy something sweet. You can enjoy something that's off the grid a little bit. I always tell people eat a 80-20% split. Eat 80% very clean, 20% you got flexibility. That 20%, make sure that snack is part of your main meal, because you don't want to dilute your acid. And do not snack 2-3 hours after you ate your food, because as soon as you start chewing again, here's the last part of the digestion, and then we covered the whole digestive tract. If you just ate a meal and you're not satisfied because you didn't eat enough food, and 2-3 hours later you're eating again, imagine when you start chewing here, or even first of all, when you start thinking about food, your body produces saliva and your stomach acid. So now, as soon as you start chewing, even if it's gum, that's why I used to never understand why chewing gum was bad. If you even start any kind of chewing, what will happen is your body just says, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm being fed again." So that what happens at that point in time, your body will, that sphincter at the bottom, it won't open back up, because you just signaled your body that you're being fed again. So now what happens is that stomach content in there is going to be there for up to 6 hours, because you just reset that digestion clock again. You just told your body you're being fed again by chewing. And now all of a sudden you're bloated, you're feeling tired, you're feeling brain fog, you're feeling unmotivated. You mean, and nothing is being done. And that's where, like, a high performer, anybody, anything that we do, now all of a sudden you're not getting your tasks done. You're not completing anything. And that's where you got to realize, boom, eat food properly, make a habit of making a time for it. Don't try to multitask. It will not work out for you. Do not eat late night, because your stomach acid is weak at the end of the night. As soon as there's melatonin present, because you actually had all proper sleeping habits, your body's not thinking about producing stomach acid. Go to bed early, wake up early. And when you wake up early, crush your work. You're gonna outperform yourself 3x easy. That's just for the starters. And then all of a sudden you're more. And then for sex life, all that hormones, everything's better. Hormones are popping off. Energy levels go through the life. Estrogen and testosterone get basically balanced back out. All of a sudden, the stomach weight goes away. Inflammation goes away. If you're a bodybuilder or want to be into fitness, your body heals a lot faster. And then all of a sudden you walk around with a smile on your face all day long. And you're not fatigued anymore. And now you're not looking for the next best thing. What tablet can I take? What supplement can I take? Now, if you have all that corrected and you want to take a supplement on top of that, now you're in the zone. Now you're ahead of everybody else because you just corrected everything. You corrected your feeding process. You've corrected your sleeping, and now you can move on to the next level, right? And then next level could be another thing in your life that needs to be recorrected. I don't know how much time we got here. Am I going over time? What are we at?
Oh,
So
you're good, man. I think if you what we can do is we can even open the floor to some questions. I think some people would have some really good questions for you. But yeah, you can
yeah.
finish that train of thought and then we can get into some Q&A if you want.
Yeah, and yeah, so let's get a Q&A going because I can go on forever. You already know we already have so many sessions, bro. I love you guys. Every time we come in, it's always over an hour talk, 2 hour talk because there's so much. And again, it is hard these days because there's so much stuff that's so off. So I would love to do another chat with you guys another day. We can talk about other things, but those are the two biggest things I need to always fix on a lot of people is one is sleep. Yo, guys, if you can knock the sleep out of the park, I promise you everything's good to go. Memory will be number one. Number two, less inflammation and lots of energy. And then two is digestion, absorption, and microbiome. Those two are the most important things. And then like the basic things, you got to move. You should go, our ancestors moved a lot. We walked, we did manual labor, so activate those calves. Remember, your blood, it runs one way. There's a one, it's a one circuit of blood. And so the blood goes down. How do you get the blood back up? You got to activate your calves. Your calves are your second heart. Your calves pump the blood back up to your brain and your heart, right? So go for a walk along the water, go jogging, ride a bike, go work out, do something. As long as you can activate your calves, 10,000 steps a day. That's why everybody says 10,000 steps a day. Make sure the blood is circulating. If you do not circulate oxygen through your body, you're going to be tired. You're going to have horrible sleeps. You're going to be not well rested. You're not going to have any kind of pumps that means energy. So you got to activate those calves. And if someone's super overweight, a lot of times I just tell people let's go for a walk. Let's go for an hour and a half walk, right? That's huge for a lot of people. And then I'll gradually like, yo, sleep is fixed, walking, moving. All of a sudden weight starts to come off. You now got motivation. And then next is like, where can I plug in some supplements, right? And that's where we can all have another talk on supplements. I'll open up for conversation, you know what I mean? But there's also nootropics that we can take. You know what I mean? Alpha GPC, that's choline, cytocholine. We talked about that. That's number one in my books. Theanine, that's found in green tea. So you can drink a lot of green tea. That'll help you a lot. And it's also alkaline. Lemon water every morning. I know it's not a supplement, but do lemon water every morning. That's alkaline, even though it reacidifies your stomach acid first. But now we can digest your food better, but it turns into alkalinity. So take out organic lemon, cut it in half, squeeze it into some water, make a lukewarm water in the morning, crush a jar. I do a drink out of a mason jar. So 1 liter of water every morning. Boom, let's go. So that's a great way. But supplement wise, omega 3s, if you're not eating the fish, alpha GPC, there is teacrine, dynamine. Those are tea leaf extracts if you want to get off the caffeine, right? There's ginkgo biloba, good for memory. Lion's mane, good for memory. There's bacopa, good for memory. You know what I mean? What else do we got? Let me turn around here. Let me see what we got. Tyrosine, so we can replenish dopamine. Yeah, serotonin needs to be replenished. So let's get some tryptophan, right? Where do we get that? Chicken, right? I don't eat a lot of chicken in North America because it's hard to find good chicken. But any kind of white meats, you can always Google too, high tryptophan foods, right? But you got to remember, you got to replenish your hormones. And how are you going to replenish them if you can't digest the food? And that's why it's so important. Remember, stomach acid has to be present, guys. The most important thing here are this whole conversation. Eat high foods, high fiber foods. Greens are your best friend because the greens have a lot of magnesium that has over 300 functions in your body, and it will also give you a lot of K2. Eat fermented foods, and make sure that the stomach is not diluted with any kind of liquid when you're eating, so that the acid can actually break down the food, so you can actually absorb all of these minerals that we're after. So that way, all your hormones can be regulated. And that's good. I believe if you guys can follow some of these things, I know it's a lot of information. I'd love to hear some questions. You know what I mean? I'll answer anything you throw it at me. Let's go.
Yeah, man, for sure. So, guys, if you have any questions for him, I've seen a lot of questions during the whole talk. So what I want you guys to do is rewrite them and ask them. We'll probably do just a few because I know like for time. But One thing I will say while you guys type your messages is that we definitely want Arthur back at some point. And this is, as you guys know, you're on the free trial. So this is just like a little taste of what, we get access to with our community. Talking to Arthur about so much, and he's actually something he didn't mention, but he's actually really, really into the crypto space as well.
Okay.
So very much in the line of like, a lot of what we do. And that's the thing is, I feel like there's a huge connection between the two schools of thought being, the trading and investing space, escaping the matrix, you can call it. And same thing with your health, which I actually have a question that I want to ask you, which I've asked you in person, but I want them to all hear it, but we'll save that for the end.
Yeah.
So let me see. Do you guys have drop your questions? If it's a very, I know some people are scared to ask because they're private questions too. If you guys want, there's actually a feature where you can message him directly.
I,
Um,
s-
so
I saw a CMOS question.
yeah.
To that one. CMOS, one of the best things you could put in your body. You're made up of 102 minerals. CMOS is everything. CMOS has 92 minerals, and you got to remineralize your body, right? So basically, like earlier, like I said, you know, 92 minerals from CMOS. Yeah, Michelle's got it. You know what I mean? And it's fantastic, right? How do we put these minerals back in? Sheila Jeep, amazing. It's got 85 minerals. Celtic sea salt, 85 minerals. Pink Himalayan salt, which is not the best these days, but 72 minerals. CMOS, it's the boss. CMOS I do on a daily basis. 1 tablespoon. I know, Michelle, I think everybody here already picked up some CMOS. That is something that is one of the Dr. Sebi, good doctor, love the doctor. They pretty much killed him because he was kind of doing what we talk about, trying to heal people naturally and through food, right? He was a phenomenal doctor. I read all of his books. Great guy, and it's one of those things where CMOS, if you can find CMOS, try to get organic CMOS, and the one that we carry at the store is from St. Lucia. It's phenomenal. So if anybody's in the Toronto area, I'd love to help you guys out. But anywhere you guys are around the world, if you go to your local shop, most likely supplement stores won't have it. But if you go to like healthy organic shops, you'll probably be able to find some CMOS, health food stores for sure. Yep, they are. All the food is bioengineered these days. Everything is genetically modified. You know what I mean? But there's still a big crowd of people that we speak like this, and you can do really good if you can. I know even organic doesn't make sense these days. We don't know if it's truly organic, but I'd rather eat organic than not know what I'm putting in my body. Wild caught, you can still follow the rules. God bless that we still got real food because who knows what's gonna happen in 2025 and on, when this world becomes, like you said, the matrix gets tighter, because they're trying to now engineer food now through like machines and stuff. I don't know if you guys seen all that. It's disgusting. They can make food now, meats in labs and shit that looks identical to meat and tastes like meat, but I don't know what the hell is, that's not what God intended us to eat, right? So we're not even know what the what they're putting into it. And you got to remember, if we put fake food into our body, we will basically not be able to repair our bodies, right? We're gonna be breaking down, and that's how they're aging us, and that's why cancer and all these diseases, type 2 diabetes, is rampant. 1 in 2 people are gonna have cancer. It's horrible. You know what I mean? And it's I've lost a couple friends already to cancer and all this and all the other diseases. And remember, cancer, it cannot survive in an in an alkaline body. That's why I was really big on alkalinity earlier. And where do you get alkalinity? The green plants. Lemon, alkalinity. Everything that's alkaline, you want to focus on because cancer needs an acidic body. So it needs you to be tired. It needs to be stressed out. It needs you to eat artificial food. It needs you to be caffeinated all day long because you haven't slept when you're tired. And then it needs the last piece of the puzzle. It needs the gasoline, which is glucose, sugar, right? So this is like something that, if you can correct at any age, the body's beautiful. God made us good. You can repair your body, but you have to allow the body to repair itself. But if you keep hammering it and not giving it the opportunity to do it, it's a lost cause, right? But the best part is our systems that are in our body can be corrected. And I would say for a good indication for a lot of people, don't give up after a month. Don't give up after 2 months. It usually takes it can take up to 6 months to turn over your old cells. Remember, what you ate a few days ago never leaves your body. It might come out as stool from your colon, right? That's the last part of digestion, by the way. Colon, whatever you have left in there, your body will draw whatever's left over. That's your stool. But whatever's left, any kind of chemical, anything that was in that food, it's not leaving anywhere. Your body will draw. It will draw That's how you get your stool. It will draw all the liquid out of it, and that's where you get the stool, and it goes right back into your body. You know what I mean? So you got to remember all that toxic waste, you got to be able to expel out of the body. So stay alkaline. Sorry. So CMOS, that was CMOS. CMOS is good.
Yeah, I think that's another question. It was two from before. One was uh is it someone asked if they can drink water during like while eating or no liquids at all?
No liquids at all. You got to remember, like, you have enough water to keep you sustained for up to 3 days. I don't recommend not drinking water. And you got to drink enough water to be able to flush toxins out. But everybody's like, oh, if I'm going to flush all my toxins out, your kidneys can only absorb so much, it can only process so much water every hour, right? So you don't want to be indulging in water all day long either. But like I mean, to the point where they're drinking liters at an end. You know, coconut water is amazing, right? Because it has a lot of electrolytes. Coconut water is phenomenal, but you need magnesium to pull the water into your cells. And again, where do you find the magnesium? Alkaline foods, right? Green foods, the blood of the plants, chlorophyll in the middle of their blood. What do we have? Magnesium. Magnesium, actually, everybody thinks, oh, sodium. Magnesium is the water-hungry molecule. Magnesium pulls potassium and sodium, and it pulls it into your cell, and that's how you store electricity in your body. So magnesium is super important. Magnesium will pull the potassium and sodium into your cell. Now you have stored electrolytes in your body. And that's the whole point. Am I drinking water just to pee it out, or am I going to drink water to stay hydrated? Two different things, right? So drinking water all day long pointlessly might not be the best, but drinking water with a little purpose is a great idea. Celtic sea salt, amazing. Put a couple grains of Celtic sea salt in your mouth, and that because Celtic sea salt has three magnesiums in it. Magnesium is amazing, and now you pull the water in. Now you're hydrated. Remember, you gotta have the potassium sodium pump. Your heart and every single cell in your body, which is called the mitochondria, it runs on the potassium sodium pump, and that is two potassium cells, one sodium cell, and that's electricity in the body, and that's how you keep the electrical energy going. So, should you drink water all day long to stay hydrated? Now, if it's summertime, you're sweating more, yeah, drink a little bit more water. If you're not moving around much and you're not thirsty, that means your body's hydrated. It's called biofeedback. You gotta listen to your body. That's the only way, right? So
I think someone said soup. So that's such a good question. So then could you not have soup while eating food? Like some people like having soup and the noodles at the same time. Is that not good? Or
horrible idea. Uh horrible idea because I told people like bone broths are amazing, soups. If it's like cooked vegetables, it might be easier to digest. But imagine you're eating like a soup and then you put meat into it. You know what I mean? That meat's not going anywhere. That meat's not going to be stuck in your stomach for up to maybe 6 to 8 hours, and it's going to be fermenting in your food, in your tummy. And if it's fermenting in your stomach, it's just sitting there, you might even get acid reflux because you have fermentation happening. So what happens when you ferment food? It expands, right? So all of a sudden you have gas, that little sphincter opens up, now you have acid reflux, right? And remember that meat that's in the soup, that's not going to digest. Your little microbes that are waiting for this food to be traveling through your intestinal tract, they're like, yo, wait a minute. We're like microscopic big, and you're giving me pieces like this big. We can't break that food down. It makes no sense. That's why you need the acid. The acid will melt the food down. So soup is good, but you don't need, remember, bone broths are amazing. You're after minerals. So there's no, you don't have to load up, on make the soup extravagant. It could be just a bone broth because you remember you already ate a big meal earlier in the day, your first meal, and your second meal was already big too. So you should already be fed, right? Your body doesn't care if you got your food. You could be literally eating your food earlier in the day. A big meal. Start off the day. I eat about 1,400 calories. I eat nice and slow. I ingest everything, and it's an amazing way to get the food back into the body and actually break it down. And by the end of the day, why are people always hungry at the end of the night? Because no one eats enough food throughout the day. So your leptin, which is your signaling hormone, which is produced through your microbes, through your from your stomach, it says, "Whoa, I'm hungry. I haven't been fed yet." Of course, it hasn't been fed yet. You're still hungry because you haven't eaten proper food, and that's why it's so important to eat high quality, rich food, so that your body can actually analyze and be like, "Yo, I'm good." Why do you crave? You crave because your stomach, which is your microbes in there, intestinal tract, they're like, "Yo, we're still hungry. We haven't been fed yet." So you're craving all day long, and then you're snacking. And then those snacks are usually empty of calories because this no one's going to grab a healthy food for snacking. Everybody wants to grab the chips, the protein bar, even protein bars, right? Not the best idea if you actually want to get fed. Are they good for a great snack? Something a little sweet, get a little extra protein in. But what's the micronutrient value? Almost zero. You know what I mean? Protein, that's it. So
cool. That's a controversial one. I think you got all the cultures. They're fired up after that one.
Oh yeah, very, very controversial, but we have to
Yeah,
break it down to science and biobiology. You know,
love that.
no human can change any of that. It doesn't mean now, if you had something done incorrectly, sorry if there's a little background noise, guys. We're doing a little construction in the shop. Is it loud?
Oh no, I can't hear it at all,
Yeah.
actually.
Okay, sick. So like, just because our ancestors did something correctly back in the day, that's awesome. But they also did incorrect things as well. We can now finally explain it properly. And we have technology that we can, they put cameras now in people's stomachs that you can swallow, and it gives you footage for up to 24 hours. And you can follow the whole digestive system now. And you can't change that. So it's like, how is someone going to tell me otherwise when I've seen it with my own eyes? When someone swallowed the camera, and all of a sudden the digestion is in the stomach, right? And it just makes a lot of sense, right? And then like, you know, how do you change stomach acid? No one can. How can we say that, like, oh, if I drink something, it's not going to dilute my acid? You cannot. Any kind of liquid will always dilute acid. Milk, soups, water, lemon water, juice. Doesn't matter what it is. You make your stomach wet. Guess what? You now lost the ability to digest your food properly. Now you have indigestion. Now you have bloating. Now you have gas, all that kind of stuff. And the worst part is you're now not even going to absorb the minerals and the vitamins from your food. You're eating empty food, right? So do we have
Yeah,
another one?
that's facts. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna combine these two into one, and then that'll be it for this session. And I'll ask you like a question of my own, and then we'll
Yeah.
close it off.
Got it.
But so this question is pretty much is it a bad idea to have supplements before bed? And if so, should you have it with food, or like what times of the day should we have supplements?
Yeah, so everything's gonna be a little bit different. So minerals, I would say you don't need to have them with food. They're easy to absorb. Certain vitamins, you better to be absorbed with food. What I mean? Fish oils, definitely with food. Um, I would say like magnesiums you can take without food, right? So it depends, I guess. I guess what it's about. And I see the thing on the bottom. Carbs, they're not terrible for us. Carbs are good if they come with fiber. So carbs can be good if they come with fiber. I'll get to that, but let's get to digestion of the minerals and vitamins. So it basically depends what we're taking. Like there's like pre-workouts and like nootropics. They don't need food. See, certain things you want to slowly digest into your body because when you eat food, you produce stomach acid. You'll be able to break down the supplement or the fish oil, and you'll be able to absorb it a little bit better. Some things you do not want to be slowly to be digested. You want it to be absorbed very quickly into your body. So like nootropics, no food. Anything like the theanines, the tyrosines, um, anything like alpha GPC, lion's mane, all of that, I literally do on an empty stomach. Magnesium, empty stomach. But minerals, vitamins I take with food. Vitamins is a little bit better absorption if you eat it with food, obviously. And you also don't want to eat take some things like vitamins. I find that some people get upset stomachs, and it's almost pointless to take them in on an empty stomach. You know what I mean? So it depends on the mineral and then the vitamin. Some certain things will absorb better if you do it with food. Some will absorb is more strategic to do it without food. And the ones without food, you can still take them with food, but now you got to realize is they won't be absorbed as quick. So if you're trying to take like nootropics and you feel like they're gonna kick in, they won't kick in for a little while because now you slow the digestion down because you have a lot of food in your tummy, right? So the breakdown will take a lot longer. So
Dope. Yeah, so it's pretty much it. Actually, I think I see. I'll do this one last one because I know she came in late. So she's saying, is it better to take magnesium as a supplement pill or use a spray? Also, any other supplement recommendations for people that have POTS?
POTS. Can you remind me what POTS is again?
Maybe she could. I actually don't even know. So maybe she can run
I
us down.
I I I forget the acronym. I'll quickly look. I try to learn everything, but it's hard. I just if you can pop it up on the screen.
I think she wrote it down.
Oh, that skipped over fast. What's that?
Postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome.
So, what are the symptoms? Are we talking about like irregular heartbeats and stuff like that, or
Yeah, Lacey, let him know in the chat like what
yeah,
the yeah, what the symptoms are for that.
yeah, irregular heartbeats. Uh, you know what I mean? Is that true? I just want to make sure. See, like irregular heartbeats, like POTS, you know what I mean? It would be something like to do with like so magnesium. See, magnesium is your relaxer. Magnesium is your relaxer, and calcium is your constrictor. So she's taking magnesium because it actually helps with the pump. So all your cells, uh, blood pools your legs, and the migraines, insomnia, low sodium, fainting, etc. Okay, I got you. Thank you, Lacey. So she said, pretty much when you go from seating to standing, the blood pools in your legs, and then migraines, insomnia, low sodium, fainting, etc. Yeah, so like that's also to do with like your heartbeat as well, right? Your body is not pumping blood and oxygen through your whole body properly, right? And that is to do with high blood pressure, low blood pressure, and that's why magnesium, sodium, potassium is very important. We get the potassium from the greens again. So, oh, you got to eat more avocados, dark leafy greens. You get a lot of potassium. Nuts and seeds are very important. The sodium and the potassium is the electrical pump. So if you're standing up and you're feeling lightheaded, right? A lot of times it's bad blood circulation for a lot of people, right? And it could be also electrolyte deficiency. So sodium and potassium need to be regulated. You know what I mean? And the blood pooling in the bottom of the legs, blood circulation not being at its finest. So that's thicker blood. So how do we thin the blood? Turmeric, gingers, more water. You're dehydrated. You got to drink more water. Hydration is key. So if your blood is thickening, and it's very thick. And if we have too much calcification in the arteries, which is atherosclerosis, that's why I said earlier we got to eat a lot of vitamin K2. K2 will break down the calcification in the arteries, which will now increase better blood flow. But also we need to increase the potassium and the sodium and the magnesium. That's the electrical pump. Then magnesium, calcium. So magnesium relax, calcium squeezes. Magnesium relaxes, calcium squeezes. And potassium and sodium is your electricity. And again, so all of that, the pots, and that, I would say we have to eat more greener, stay hydrated so the blood is thin, and oxygen. Trying to breathe down to the stomach capsule instead of short breaths. A lot of people only breathe down to their like very, very shallow breaths. You got to start standing, fix the but the way you stand. You got to be able to expand your lungs. Everything will correct itself with good practice. And remember, start to walk more. You might be sitting too much. Uh, and remember, like I said earlier, the calves are your second heart. Your uh, calves are pumping blood back up to the heart. If you can distribute oxygen through the body, you're not gonna have that lightheaded feeling. You're not gonna have the basically low energy. The blood pooling is because the blood is too thick, and you have little caterpillars, that are little shoots in your veins, and they got to open and close, open and close, open and close, open and close, and the blood pushes everything down. But if everything is gunked up and it's stiff because you're not eating enough greens and you're too acidic and you're not alkaline enough, that's why a lot of times when I coach people, once you correct someone's sleep and you correct someone's food and diet, all these POTS, irregular heartbeats, low energy, hormone problems, everything starts to correct itself. And the reason I only speak like this because that was me. That was me. When I was younger, I had all these symptoms, every single one. And what finally fixed me, I ended up in the hospital at the age of 20, and I thought it was a heart attack. And that's when my life changed. That's when my life changed because after that, I'm like, I just need to lose weight. And how did I lose the weight? I overexercised. That was the wrong thing. But what I did is I drank only water. I only ate what was green, and I only ate meat at the time. And I ate nothing artificial. I got rid of everything that was white. So that means rice, all carbs. Now, carbs are not bad like we talked earlier. It's just bad if you're broken. If your insulin is not working and your pancreas is broken, that's what releases insulin, and you have a fatty liver, which is the cousin of insulin resistance. Why eat the carbs? They're not going to help you. Uh, no, you can have rice. Rice is good if your body can handle it, right? Rice is good if your body can handle it, right? Your body can handle up to 20 grams of sugar a day, right? It's just you think about it. You eat one apple, that's 20 grams of sugar. You eat a banana, that's like 20 grams of sugar. You drink a Coke of Coca-Cola, which hopefully nobody drinks in this room. That's 40 grams of sugar, right? So those all those things. Now again, yeah, but no, you're good. You can have all that, and you can have Caribbean diet is high in carbs. But remember, back in the day, you ate the carbs, but you burnt them off. I have a friend from Jamaica, and I said, how are the people looking there? And he goes, well, in the middle of the towns, everybody's becoming overweight, but still on the outskirts, everybody's in shape because all of a sudden it's like you can actually, if you do manual labor, you can burn that off. But we're not living like our ancestors did anymore. Everything's too easy. So we're just over consuming now. And again, if you're going to eat a carb, make sure it has a lot of fiber. Why? Because that fiber will slow down the blood sugar. If you overload your body with sugar, that's going to lead to headaches, fatigue, insomnia, tiredness. You're going to have crashes, right? And it's indigestion it can cause, and it can cause so many diseases in the body that we don't realize, but it might not even happen overnight. It will happen be on a continuing basis. And you got to remember, if you're not 20 anymore, your body's working different. If you're not 30 anymore, your body's working different. If you're 40, your body's definitely not working different. But you can still be young. You can still play sports. You can still do active things, but you got to be a little bit more careful. You're a little bit more aware of what's going on. And this is why these conversations are really amazing, right? And this is just scraping what we could talk about. I mean, this is like 25%. We could talk for a couple of days. There's so much things that we could correct. And I love this kind of part of like people are throwing out questions because it's so hard for me to even come up with like what should I talk about. But as soon as I get those questions on top of like what we just talked about, that's what I love to answer for a lot of people. And again, this is not my information. This is what I've read from books, from doctors, from people that have had problems. I'm just someone that's just passing on the message. You know what I mean? Tips for weight gain. Yup. Eat every 4 hours. Make sure your calories are up. If you want to gain weight, in this case, I would not. For weight gain, definitely want to carb up. That means you're a hard gainer. Your metabolism is working perfectly fine, and your insulin's working very fine. Me working out my calves right now. There you go. And then so basically, for someone that's trying to gain weight, you got to be more consistent with your food. And you got to remember, your body does a set weight, set point. So when you gain weight, don't be discouraged when you lose, gain 20 pounds, but you've lost 15 or 7 pounds, or 15 pounds. Just like when you lose the weight, expect the weight to come back because it's called set point. Your body loves comfort. It will always return you back where you kept it the longest, right? Your job is to be consistent, right? So don't give up after a month or two. It took me 6 months to lose 80 pounds. And then it took me another 10 years to stay lean all my life because I kept bouncing back and forth for 10 years. I was overweight for 13 years, right? So it took me about 10 years to fully correct myself. That my body now is like, okay, I'm not going to bring you back to what you used to look like. But if you do fall off track, I'm going to bring you back at least 25 to 30% where you left off. And we can correct that. And you just don't give up. You have to keep changing it. Now for weight gain, you have to keep packing it on. You got to eat every 4 hours. Make sure you're in a calorie surplus in this case, but healthy calories. Remember, you need to eat in a surplus of 3,500 calories to gain a pound or to lose a pound. But again, calories don't matter for me. But again, the basic rules do matter. You can't gain weight and eat only 2,000 calories a day, and you cannot lose weight by eating 5,000 calories a day. That's just the basic law of energy. But all calories are not the same. Buffet every day. If someone wants to cook for you, and they're not gonna provide you with some real good food, yeah, all day. You know what I mean? But we go out and eat at a buffet. That shit is all MSG. That is gonna mess up all your hormones. That is gonna give you, yeah, good taste and good flavor, but it's not real good food, right? We are what we eat. You gotta remember that, right? So we are all we eat, and it's basically all exclusive resort. My body was so pumped during 100%. That's the pump. I'm just reading people's comments as they come in. Um, you know what I mean? Those are all the things those are all the little things that we got to kind of focus on. Remember, quality food, and these days you got to be very, very careful what you put in your body. I'd rather not go out and spend money on stupid stuff. I focus on food, and if you can nail the food, guys, I'm telling you, you are gonna show up to work way better. You're not gonna gas out. You're gonna outperform everybody. And again, weight loss is just a byproduct of you being healthy. Weight gain is just weight gain is a product of you eating really bad or of being focused and being in a surplus. But at the end of the day, it's like, how do I feel and how am I aging? Am I 40 years old and do I look like a 60-year-old? Am I 25 years old and do I feel like a 60-year-old? What's my biology? Right? So it's like the whole point of this whole journey and this what I do for people these days, it's it's not even about weight loss or weight gain. that will be corrected on its own. I tell people that's the reward. That's the side effect, because once you heal your body and all your organs are working perfectly, the weight loss will come on its own. When I was a trainer, I used to train people to lose weight. After a long time, what I started doing is I started healing people through what we were talking about right now, sleeping patterns, eating healthy food, working on the microbiome, all that kind of stuff. And now all of a sudden, if that person was going to gain weight, they gain the right type of weight. If that person was going to lose weight, they lose the right type of weight. And then basically what happens is all of a sudden they look younger. They're stronger. The libido is back, hair is not falling out, and then you're anti-aging. And that's basically that's cool. That was a good one.
Yeah,
It's
man.
fun.
No, honestly, like that's this is so much value. I hope you guys gained a lot from it. And I guess I'll close it off with I guess two things. Number one, I've had so many people in high performers in the entrepreneurship space at some point get hospitalized because of overconsumption of energy drinks. And I remember we had that conversation about the caffeine and all that.
Mhm.
Um, I guess what's a message you can send? Because there's some people here that want to go for crazy levels of, success, income, all that. And I feel like staying awake is one of the biggest things. They feel like there's not enough hours in the day, as I felt once before too. But why should they stay away from that kind of stuff?
Caffeine is, remember, all types of caffeine, if it comes from an energy drink or a pre-workout or a coffee, it's all acidic. Caffeine is acidic. That's all you got to now. Caffeine in small amounts is okay, but by small amounts, I'm talking about like maybe 200 milligrams a day. I'll share my quick story before we finish off. I was doing about 800 to 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day, and that's when my fiance called me out on it, and she's like, "Yo, don't you doing too much caffeine?" Remember, caffeine strips minerals from your body. We're trying to put minerals back into the body. Caffeine strips them out of our bodies. So caffeine, not only is it acidic, so it creates the perfect breeding ground for disease. It will make you tired, and because it makes you tired because it makes you dilute the minerals in your body. It's a diuretic. So it's only shutting off your brain from making it think that you're not tired. So what will it do? It will offset your heartbeat because remember your heartbeat's calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium. That's the irregular heartbeats. So long term, you might like it in the moment, but long term, it's going to destroy you. What you got to do is correct all the now. Why are we drinking caffeine? Because we didn't sleep well, we didn't eat well, so we're tired all the time. And it's not about as a high performer, work smarter, right? Work smarter and perform higher, right? So basically, wake up early in the morning, do your work. Go to the gym, pump the blood through your body so you have natural energy. Drink lots of water so your blood is thin, so you can deliver oxygen to all your cells a lot faster. Eat well so your brain recuperates a lot better. Now, if you want to sprinkle a little caffeine into the day, cool, 200 milligrams. But if you're on that shit all day long, here's someone that's talking that owns a supplement store. I was doing way too much, and it will cause too many problems, and It's going to leach the most important minerals from your body, which is magnesium and everything else. So you got to be really really focused on all this performance stuff where it's like, yeah, magnesium will help you in the I mean caffeine will help you in the moment, but what's the overall health aspect of it? Caffeine is good, but it's also deadly. And the last piece of the puzzle, I'm gonna tell you a quick study because I talk a lot. Um, Caffeine, they did a study on rats. Two things. Caffeine is more addictive than cocaine. They gave rats Coke and caffeine. When they put both of them in front of them, they went after caffeine first. What does that tell you? Number two, they did a study on rats. Another one. They taught a rat how to rescue itself. You might have seen this. It went a little viral there on Instagram and shit, but it's a good study. They put a rat in a pool of water, wherever it was, that liquid it was, and it could find its platform where to rescue itself. They taught it very quickly. Then they hyped it up on sugar. That very same rat or whatever it was, that mouse that was able to find that platform to save itself within like seconds. I think it was like 7 seconds or something. It took it minutes and almost it couldn't it almost drowned. It kept swimming in circles. So if you're caffeinated, you're actually not being productive. You're like scatterbrain ADHD. You'd be like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I can't focus on that. All of a sudden, it's like 2 hours, 3 hours go by, and now your sleep is horrible. Try to go and get a good night's sleep. You know what I mean? When you're all caffeinated, it will not work. It will not work, right? So caffeine is your friend if you want to use it properly. That's why I'm big on dynamine and teacrine, which is tea leaf extract. It doesn't have the same effect as caffeine, but it keeps you alert and focused. And that's why I focus on nootropics, alpha GPC, choline, cytocholine. Focus on those guys and stay alkaline and sleep well, and you're good to go. Stay hydrated.
Yeah, there you go. That I hope you guys really took notes with that one because that's a key, especially for entrepreneurs. Like Artie works hard too, right? He's got his business, he's working nonstop. And I remember we were talking, I was there with Megan and then Daniel Michelle too, and he's like, I'm caffeine free, and then af shortly after that, I also went caffeine free, and I feel like I have more energy than I ever had before,
Literally.
right? So that and that helps. And I guess the final thing. Um, Again, to kind of close it off with a nice big red ribbon. Um, we're in the space of obviously, going against, we know that, and me and you talked about this, like even trading, like in crypto or the foreign exchange market and all that, it's very much going against the system because we're all, programmed to be a certain type of way. We have to go to school, get good grades, get a good job, get a degree, right? Go in a bunch of debt to get the degree that then you're just in debt paying off. And I feel like there's very much equivalence with like the banks, like the central banks and us as traders against the banks, so to speak, in layman's terms, and then also big pharma and what you do, which is not, like you said, you're not treating, right? You're preventing.
Mm.
So in that whole idea, because I know that could be a conversation we have hours, we could talk hours about that whole thing and that rabbit hole, but I guess in like I guess the final 5 minutes, um I guess what's your take on that, and especially like why should we, just how we're doing escaping the matrix that we talked about, or getting out of the system where you were getting 0.05% interest a year, why we should do trading, why should we start going preventative instead of treating, and why is it so bad? Even what you said about Tylenol, Advil
Yeah.
destroying all your, you know what I mean? I'm not going to spoil what you said, but you can get into that for about 5 minutes because I think they really need to hear it because the similarities are scary, right?
Yeah, this whole system has been set up so that we're weak, right? And no one's fixing the problem. We're all working on a patch system. We're literally we're not focusing on how to do preventative. We're doing reactive, right? And the whole system's been set up that we're weak, tired, and we're enslaved in the system, and that is all controlled by food. We are what we eat. So if you keep someone kind of like sick and tired, you're not going to be able to outperform. You're going to be part of the 9 to 5. You're not going to want to be ambitious. You're not going to be able to sit here and listen to this kind of conversation and be able to absorb it because you won't be able to be focused, right? So it's a beautiful correlation where everything here is set up in a way where it's like it's one of those things where we have to learn about food. We have to worry about income, friendships, who do we keep in our circle, who are we involved with. We're a byproduct of who we are part of, right? So, as you grow up, you kind of learn this real quick. In my 20s, I was more gullible. You want friends and stuff and like whatever. Now it's quality of friends. And it's your network and it's your time is worth of everything, right? You have good friends in your life, good people in your life that you do things for them, they do things for you. You hang out with the right people, um, you eat well, you learn a lot, and to break out of the system, you got to be very, very optimized because this system has been created. The Rothschilds is the Rothschild family, right? If you're the banking system, they're the ones that created the poison, the food, the chemicals in our food, the petrochemicals that are in our food, and all that shit. And if you keep someone's pineal gland calcified, you're blocked. You're gonna be just a 9 to 5er, and you're gonna be like, I don't want to expand. I don't want my brain to expand. I want to be able to get into this kind of stuff where it's like I want to learn, right? I don't have the capacity to learn. But why don't you? Because I'm tired, right? Why are you tired? Because you haven't ate anything. But that's the system. They're the ones that are passing this food through the FDA, through the lobbies and all the shit, from all the research I've done. They're the ones that are in control, right? They don't want you to learn. They don't want you to unplug. They don't want you to learn anything but what you know. And what is the system they taught us, what they indoctrinated to us when we're younger. And that is basically go to work, don't try to expand, and listen to what we say. This food is approved. This is what we want you to eat like. Don't get involved with other groups and then live your life and then die to some kind of disease. And along the way, we're gonna medicate your ass because we're gonna create the disease and then we're gonna give you the solution. Right. And anybody that speaks out, very dangerous witchcraft, how dare you talk about holistic things, healing people with natural food and better remedies. You're crazy, right? And they even control the laws, right? Look at all the shit they're taking off the markets. You can't make any claims anymore with supplements. Our payments got shut down for like 7, 10 days the one time because you can't say that caffeine changes the state of mind or that turmeric brings down inflammation, right? So we are in a matrix, you know. It doesn't want you to win. That's the system, right? And the matrix is just basically a program that's been set up by the people that run the world. And for the first time ever, we're breaking out of it, right? Because we have this. We can communicate and create masterminds. You know, you can get 100 people in a room and share ideas. You know, I learn from people every single day. I'm only good at what I do because I had to change my life, and along the way, you know, that's what I came across. Right? You're an expert at what you do. Right? Look at the beautiful team that you lead. Right? But for us to be able to be all leaders, because everybody is so smart in all of this, you know. Every person that's in this room is here for a reason. Is it for me? Is it for you? It doesn't matter. It's everybody's here because we're here vibrating on a whole nother kind of level where we're sharing some kind of info that, you know, it's not available to the regular public. You don't hear people talking like this on the streets. You don't hear this at parties. You don't hear this at gatherings with your friends. It's like, yo, well, you want to get smashed today? You want to go? I'm like, yo, but that's not for me. You know what I mean? You know, once in a while, I'm not saying to go not to go out. You know, I go out once or twice a year, I have fun. But you know, when I was in my 20s, it was every day. You know what I mean? What did it bring me? Nothing. Experiences. You know what I mean? But I had to kind of pull myself out of my group of friends back in the day. And then I started learning about all this stuff. And that's when my life changed, right? So for all of us here, it's about spread love, spread knowledge, learn from each other, vibrate, you know, at a high frequency. You know what I mean? And that's the energy. And just remember, this system is not here to save us. It's not here to protect us. We're the only ones that can share this info amongst us and be able to help each other. So it was an honor to be here, by the way. So thank you, appreciate you guys, man. Hopefully we can do one in. I would love to do this like in real life. Get a next time we guys have something going on, that'll be fire. You know what I mean? And I would love to be. I know my timing has been off right now, but I'd love to join you guys as a team as well. So it's coming. It's coming. But right, I am very very busy, but it's one of those things that we can take on, and we'll see what goes on.
Yeah, 100%. We really appreciate having you on. Everyone show Arthur some love down in the chat. Definitely looking forward to doing these on a bigger scale. You guys know how we do events, and this is just a small taste of, what we do for those of you that are, watching the recording, especially those we got a lot of Europeans that are gonna be listening to this. So while we're sleeping, they're gonna be listening to this and probably sending me a bunch of messages, get me connected, like how can I ask them questions? And all this kind of stuff, which is why I say it's important to be on live instead of watching a recording. You know what I mean? For those of you that stayed up, there's some people in Europe that are awake right now, it's like 3 in the morning, and they're
Yep.
they're on the call right now.
My parents are in Poland right now, so it'd be like 7 hours ahead. So it'd be
Yeah.
yeah, that's
There
hilarious.
there you go. Yeah. So everyone's showing you some love, man. Really great
Thank you
hearing
guys.
from you, and shout out to Megan obviously for putting this thing together and getting you up on here and yeah, man, looking forward to a lot more in the future. You guys want to see Arthur trading too, man. He's gonna be crushing it,
I
right?
can't wait. You know, I'm not someone like too like I need to commit my time and I want to get to the point where it's just not like a 25% like kind of foot in. So it's coming. We're gonna have a grand opening soon too as well. So I'll have a little bit more time after that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yo, it's
yeah.
coming. It's good. I see your
Yeah,
face.
there we go, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So,
Yeah.
yeah, hope you guys really took notes. Like I said, at some point soon we're gonna set something up where we can have him back, because I know we could probably do a whole session. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even in person, we can stream it as well live for you guys to see. For those of you that are on the team, obviously. But wow, what a great session, man. What a great
Yeah.
session. With a lot of value. So
Yeah. Thank you
appreciate
so much.
you. Yeah, man, appreciate you big time. And for those of you that are, tuning in, you guys watching the recording, at this point, hope your hands are hurting with all the notes that you're taking. But aside from that, guys, we'll see you in the next one. And thank you to Arthur. Thanks to Megan. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. And peace, guys.
God bless. Thank you so much. Peace.